Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Yeah, so pretty much surprise to nobody except for the Blue Anon crowd. President Trump has been totally vindicated here. He is right again. While these leftist losers are out here trying to convince you that Chicago is actually a liberal utopia, the reality is much different. Chicago just had another blood-soaked weekend with 54 people shot and now 7 confirmed dead. It's mayhem and carnage that barely shocks us anymore. A normalization of gang violence.
So far, the numbers we have show 54 people were shot, 7 fatally. It usually takes a few hours for Chicago police to release the official numbers from the holiday weekend. But you compare those numbers to the 4th of July weekend, in which 44 people were shot, 6 were killed. This is the dynamic that Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker says is not an emergency that warrants the intervention of federal troopers and the National Guard.
Now, we covered the violence that was playing out over the weekend just the other day. Although these are the latest figures, I think the last time we reported it, it was like 36 shot and 4 or 5 people killed. Now it's over 50 with 7 fatalities. You know, it's not necessarily new information and not the point of this broadcast. It's just the underlying context. What we really want to talk about, what really never fails to shock, is the response from Democrats who are in charge of this violent hellhole. The excuses, their propaganda, and frankly, the absolutely brain-dead, stupid rhetoric. Personally, I find the Democrat response honestly more insulting than the violence itself. And well, let me show you what Democrats are up to this week. Let's delve into these destructive shenanigans. And trust me when I tell you there's a whole lot of shenanigans going on. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so you've got Chicago residents here now pleading for help.
It's just gone from bad to worse to disaster.
No one really feels safe. It's impossible to feel safe in a city like this, especially with the leadership we have.
These kids are carrying guns like around the ages of 8 years old, and they're killing other 8-year-old kids with guns. It's insane.
My opinion, not enough police officers. The police officers' hands are tied.
So the police is really unappreciative for offhand under Brandon Johnson, Lori Lightfoot, J.B. Pritzker. Those are 3 are the reason why nobody don't want to be a police.
Their policies when it comes to crime is not working at all.
I think the biggest piece of the pie has to be more police officers, more protection. That's what the people want.
You know, those are the residents. Those are the people on the ground living in these neighborhoods, talking about 8-year-olds walking around with illegal guns, which of course, again, is nothing new. It's almost akin to child soldiers in Africa. It's something that, frankly, we shouldn't accept in the first world. But this is the current state of Chicago. It is a disaster zone. And now, what's the response from Democrats? Well, here's where the insults really come. Brandon Johnson, the mayor of the city, the mayor of the people, well, he's now addressing the crime, and not in the way that you might think, no, in the sense that he's not addressing it at all. No, he's countering with dishonest political theatrics and propaganda.
Mr. Mayor Brandon Johnson, we're here for the annual Bike to Drive on a beautiful day. It's Labor Day weekend. Just want to send a message to the rest of the world. This is not a hellhole. We're building the safest, most affordable big city in America, and we're doing it together. Let's get it.
I mean, what an absolute loser. He hops on his little bike with his taxpayer-funded security detail, goes for a ride through a park, probably in one of the safest parts of the city, and then says, "There's no problem here in Chicago." What an insult to our intelligence, what an insult to the people of Chicago, and what a disgusting dismissal of the mass violence occurring. And Democrats are really doubling down on this. We've got Victor Shi, the Democrats' favorite Gen Z political pawn. He takes a photo in front of Trump Tower, again in one of the nicest parts of Chicago, and says, "Hello from Chicago. The sun is shining, so many families smiling, laughing and enjoying the long weekend. Spirits are high. Don't fall for the lies. Chicago has never been more beautiful." As people are being mowed down by gunfire in the streets, 54 people shot, and this guy's taking happy-go-lucky selfies. Look, I'm gonna continue saying it. These are heartless, callous, terrible people. Instead of addressing the mass death in their state, in their city, they'd rather ignore reality and engage in these fake staged PR stunts, telling people to believe what their eyes clearly show is a lie. And if characters like Brandon Johnson aren't playing make-believe, well then they're doing the only other thing they know how to do, playing the race card.
Are you prepared to defend this land that was built by slaves, a land that was built by indigenous people, a land that is built by workers? Are you prepared to defend this land? The people united will always prevail. I need you all to stand firm, to stand strong.
Trying to rally people to defend this land built by slaves and indigenous peoples. What does that even mean? Firstly, why is that relevant? And secondly, Chicago wasn't built by slaves. It wasn't built by indigenous tribes. But of course, why does that matter when you can use America's past as a shield to avoid accountability for your modern policy failures? It's peak Democrat grift. Dismiss the problem as not happening, and then when that's not exactly picking up steam, play the race card. Oh, and how could I forget their favorite tool, their trump card, so to speak, blaming Donald Trump.
How do you respond to the argument that there were something like 50 plus shootings, 52 people, I should say, were shot in Chicago, 30 different shootings over the holiday weekend, 7 people killed? Aren't numbers like that still a problem that your city needs to address? What more can be done to address that?
Well, I think that what we need to do is we also had a mass shooting in a Catholic school. We also have had many instances where the administration has really escalated, exacerbated the violence in our country, in our cities. Trump is a dictator. I think we got to be very clear. He's trying to normalize violence. He's trying to normalize military deployment in American cities like LA, DC, Chicago, and many others to come. But what we have not seen is really a systemic investment that will actually address the core issues. I had shootings in my ward. One of them was a tragic shooting of an unhoused neighbor. So the Trump administration is saying that they're going to address the issue of unhoused residents by putting them in jails, in concentration camps?
How insane do you have to be to believe that? I'm pretty sure he was making reference to the radicalized leftist trans shooter that shot up a Catholic school. What was that, like close to 1,000 miles away? This leftist turd just pointed to a leftist act of domestic terrorism that happened multiple states away and then said that's proof that Chicago doesn't have a problem, but rather the fascist orange president is escalating violence across the country, including in Chicago. Again, how insane do you have to be to believe that? Instead of addressing gang violence, carjackings, bloody murder in your own city, this guy points to Trump as the problem. It's so stupid and it's so insulting to our intelligence. There is the common denominator. That is the trend. In comes Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton, unintentionally highlighting the actual problem.
Donald Trump is not focused on public safety. Look, anytime that there's crime anywhere in our state or around the country, we want to continue to see progress being made, and we are making progress here in Illinois and in the city of Chicago. But this is not about public safety, and this is not about making our residents safer. What Donald Trump wants to happen is he wants to manufacture a crisis. He's going to, as we just talked about, there's going to be a surge of ICE enforcement efforts. He knows that people will see those efforts and then want to speak out. People, good, decent people, will be heartbroken to see their neighbors being snatched off the streets and stuffed into unmarked cars. He wants to inflame tensions, and he wants to make sure that that he can cause some sort of crisis that he can say that he's coming to the rescue. And what we know is that we are going to follow the law here in Illinois. We are going to do everything we can to protect our residents, and we're not going to allow this president who wants to manufacture a crisis, who wants to, quite frankly, make the military presence on American soil something that people normalize. We are going to speak out. We are going to be prepared to do everything we can to protect the residents of our state.
Again, with this pathetic line that it's a manufactured crisis, but then telling people that we're making progress. We don't need Donald Trump. We got it all under control. Well, excuse me, but Democrats have been saying the same thing for what, like 40, 50 years at this point? As the bodies pile higher and higher? You know, at some point it's not progress. At some point it's just lies. Imagine having an employee that fails in the same assignment year after year after year for decades, all while telling you, oh, don't worry, we're making progress. Clearly, after probably 2 years, if that, you'd fire them. Yet in Chicago, people keep voting for the same Democrats over and over again, expecting different results. It's the definition of insanity. And the obvious conclusion here is that Democrats clearly do not want to fix crime. They'd rather exploit it. They'd rather distract, deflect, and of course, racially grift on top of it. It's mind-boggling. It's hard to wrap your head around, especially that clip of Brandon Johnson riding his bike through the park. And you know that it was probably just for the photo op. You know, a classic Pete Buttigieg bike ride. He probably traveled a quarter of a mile just for the camera so he can then declare that Chicago is a safe city. Yeah, I'm sure the place that's colloquially known as Chirac has no issues of violence. No, of course not. Color me convinced. The mayor just rode his bike for 30 frickin' seconds. What a Democrat success story. Yeah, more like the least popular, lowest approval mayor in the country, continuing to prove why that's exactly the case. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.